Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular board meeting. Today is Tuesday, October 12th, 2021, and this is a regular board meeting of the San Benito CISD Board of Trustees. We'll begin with roll call. Ramiro Moreno, present. Ms. Janie Lopez.
Present.
Mr. Oscar Medrano.
Present.
Mr. Rudy Corona.
Present.
Dr. Ariel Cruz.
Present.
Mr. Orlando Lopez. Mr. Mario Silva.
Present.
Dr. Nate Carmen.
Present.
Mr. Stephen Weller.
Present.
We have a quorum. And next, we have our Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag and the Texas flag.
Leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance is Joshua Ramirez. He is 10 years old and fifth grade student at Frank Roberts Elementary. He is the son of Samantha Cantu and Armando Trevino. Joshua has two younger brothers, Jathan and Jaith, who also attends Frank Roberts Elementary. Joshua is an active member of the Frank Roberts Safety Ranger and shows his commitment by reporting to school every day at 7 a.m. to assist with morning drop-off and being a greeter and walking students in primary grades to their classrooms. He is also part of the Frank Roberts cross-country team where he will represent his school at this district meet. Joshua is a good student who has passed all his STAR tests in fourth grade, and he is working hard to ensure he passes all his fifth grade STAR tests at the master's level. Joshua's hobbies include playing video games and drawing. Joshua plans to attend college to study to become a doctor someday. Joshua would like to thank the school board members, Dr. Carmen, and Frank Roberts Elementary for affording him the opportunity to recite the Pledge of Allegiance at the board meeting. Leading us in the invocation is Sinaya Peyton Quesada. Is that right? Sinaya Peyton Quesada is 9 years old and fourth grade student at Frank Roberts Elementary. She is the daughter of Patricia and Christopher Quesada. Sinaya is the youngest of 8 siblings. Sinaya is an honor roll student who passed all her all-star tests in third grade and the master's level. Sinaya also participates in the GT program at Frank Roberts Elementary, as well as the school's honor choir, chess team, and dance team. She is also a member of the running club. Sinaya has also been a junior Girl Scout for 5 years and contributed to many community service projects. Sinaya's hobbies include art, reading novels and comic books, and doing trampoline tricks. Sinaya's goals for this year is next to earn a Principal's Award recognition, all 90s or above, from first grade through fifth grade, and continue to earn masters on all her STARS tests. Sinaya aspires to attend art school to become an artist. Sinaya would like to thank all the school board members, Dr. Carmen and Frank Roberts Elementary, for affording her the opportunity to serve the Lord in reading the invocation at this meeting. Thank you, Joshua and Sinaya.
And before we continue, Mom, if you'll correct us, how is the correct pronunciation of your daughter?
He said it right after the.
Sinaya?
Sinaya.
All right, I saw
Okay,
you
all right.
shaking your
Just
head.
making
All right,
sure.
just making sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Will everyone please bow their heads? Dear Lord, we thank you for the many blessings you have given us. You have given us the gift of life and our health and well-being. At this time, dear Lord, we ask that you bless our board members and Dr. Carmen abundantly and give them wisdom, guidance, courage, and strength. Be with them in their deliberations and help them make wise decisions for the good of all those who have placed their trust and confidence in their leadership. We ask that you help them share their individual and collective gifts with our schools and community. and to give of themselves in ways that make a difference in our families, in our students, in our schools, in our city. For all this we give thanks. Father, in your name we pray. Amen.
Sanaya and Joshua, we want to recognize you with a gift certificate. If you want to come in and say hello to the board, please. Yeah. Yeah, here.
Thank you for being here tonight. Congratulations, you did a wonderful job. And Sanaya as well. Here's a certificate for you. Thank you for being here tonight. We really appreciate you guys. Can we have a picture with you too? Yes? Awesome. Let's go ahead. You want to go ahead and say, let everybody congratulate you, and then you can take a picture with the board. All right. Okay, let's take a picture over here. My way. Okay, parents, thank you for being here tonight as well. We appreciate you, Mr. Diaz. Thank you.
Before we go on, I want to recognize Ms. Sarah Alvarado and her staff. They recognized me for my birthday, and I thank her for her birthday card. I appreciate that, Ms. Alvarado. Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have public comment. Before we begin, I will remind our audience members of the board's procedures for handling public comment. The public comment portion of our meeting is available to members of the public who wish to address any topic. Anyone who would like to speak during public comment must sign in prior to the start of the meeting and list the topics they wish to discuss. Each public comment speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board for each topic. If more than 10 speakers are signed up to speak on the same topic or topics, all additional speakers on that item shall be limited to 2 minutes. However, any public testimony speaker who requires a translator will receive up to 6 minutes to address the board. Please keep your comments or criticisms civil and courteous. Please avoid using profanity and refrain from making personal attacks on others during your opportunity to speak. Lastly, we ask that you do not discuss students who are not your own children. If a speaker is seeking board resolution of a specific complaint, that concern should be addressed through the district's grievance process. District policy DGBA has been established for addressing employee complaints. Policy FNG is the avenue for filing parent complaints, and policy GF addresses community member complaints. Grievance forms can be obtained at any campus administration office or at the district's central administration offices. Our first speaker for the night is Ms. Mary Maney. Ms. Maney, welcome.
Good evening, board, members, and Dr. Carmen. Tonight, I actually only had a few comments to make. One of them was on 2.1, which is the Human Resource a Day recognition. And having been in other districts in other states where when somebody told you you need to go talk to HR, you immediately broke out in a cold sweat and knew you had tons of paperwork and major headache in front of you. I have to say, I really appreciate ours. It's easy to pick up the phone, call into Dr. Cruz's office, talk to somebody, have somebody get back to you if you don't have they don't have the immediate answer to what you're looking for. I've never gotten the runaround. I had a hard time getting into the district, coming in from a different state. We had an HR nightmare on my hands, but it was one of these, they worked with me. I mean, it's like, you don't understand just how lucky you guys are blessed with this department. So, Dr. Cruz and your group, thank you so very much. Okay, on 4.4, the Cameron County Venue Arena, I know I had some questions and I did some more research on it. And I have to say that I talked again to the commissioner's office, and they said that, you know, the hotel tax, the visitor tax would not be increasing for our area, so it's not like it's going to discourage somebody from coming to see us. But, so that's a good thing. And the other thing is, it's a good proposal to create some tourism north of South Padre Island, so that hopefully we could get some of the spillover of it. So I'm thinking with that and part of the other two projects they've got going on, that would be a wonderful thing. So, you know, I hope you do the resolution, and I hope we get some positive publicity for that's going to be on the ballot in November. And the last one I had was 6.5. And I've said in here every board meeting just about that we've had, and I have, you know, I listened through all of the, why we were doing the stipends, why we were doing the paving, why we were doing all this, and they're all really good until I looked at the bottom number now, and I wasn't keeping a running tally. I did not realize we'd already been over 3 million more than what we had budgeted. I do have some concerns on that as far as how that's going to affect the feasibility of us being able to keep with our pay raises and continue at the current level that we've got. I know that we said we were setting money aside so that we would be able to do years 2s, 3s, and carry a little bit forward. But I am a little concerned on just how much that's going to actually affect the staff and faculty here at the district. The other thing I was noticing, and I tried contacting the city, and I didn't get anybody to answer me, is, you know, the 1.2 million we're using for the parking. I don't have any problem with that. I mean, I understand that. It's needed. It really is needed. But does that actually put us in with doing any of the transportation state matching or federal matching things that we could actually maybe reduce our part of the cost on? I know the city was asking you for the resolution, so I'm just wondering if that's not one of the reasons they're doing it, is that they can use it as saying, we are providing matching. And the reason I'm asking this is I used to work for transportation in a different state, so I do know a little bit more about the funding grants on that. So I was just curious as to that, and if that was something we could possibly investigate. But other than that, thank you so much, and HR, thank you.
Ms. Maney, as always, thank you. Our next speaker tonight is Ms. Rosalinda G. Garcia. Ms. Garcia, welcome.
Good evening, Board President, members of the Board, administration. My view on agenda item 6.5 that was placed by a board member that will bring into discussion about board-initiated projects not originally budgeted for are as follows. Will I hear statements that the board is there to see that budgeted projects are brought forth for approval and allow administration to bring other projects which are not? Will I hear that it is not the role of a board member to place on the agenda costly items not budgeted for? Will that board member state that board-initiated projects seem to convey that a board member might be micromanaging? That approving projects that not originally in the budget may lead the district to go under budget? Will I hear that recent boards develop a healthy fund balance that had never been done before. Therefore, we need to stay focused on budget-approved items. Members of the board, San Benito community, as per board operating procedures, board members have final approval on recommended actions brought forward by selected committees. Policy does not read that board members may not make recommendations, such as the construction of tennis courts at Riverside. That is why these committees were developed by TA for discussion and always with the best interests of the district students. For example, tennis courts to be built at Riverside was placed on the committee agenda and brought up for discussion and voted to proceed with construction. The same thing for hiring of police officers. It was placed there on a committee agenda and then went up for vote. According to policy BBE, if a board member request exceeds authority, they will be notified by the superintendent. I never once did hear our administration that projects like the tennis courts would be too costly and hinder budget operating balance. Example to this is when I heard a discussion between the finance director and the board after the budget was adopted regarding a higher pay raise. The district finance director implied it would not be in the best interest of the district. Discussion ended. As a board member, you were elected because you have a vision and ideas. Serving on a board is not just about attending and voting. My other one is on non-agenda item, the forensic audit. Would you pay a contractor $200,000 first and then proceed to build your home? If you're obtaining financing, no way would that be allowed. And if you're paying cash, that would be so foolish. With this statement, this is what our district has done. Why did San Benito CISD pay the project manager over $1 million, his fee to oversee 3 projects, when not even one had been completed? The project manager's final $50,000 payment was in 2020. Any other payments going to him as PM have to be approved by the superintendent. As early as this year, the PM received notice to proceed with the construction of 2 other projects. He stated that in 2020, materials had gone up, but he was ready to proceed. So why is there no activity out there? In 2019, 2020, why did the district engage the PM in other non-bond related projects? He was very well paid for as a consultant, over $100,000. That is aside the $1 million. Should his hiring and focus have been or should be as a project manager for the bond facilities? San Benito community, please call your board member and voice that we need a forensic audit to look into HR, finance department, bond project, contract vendors. This is not a witch hunt. Why are the check registers for 2019 and 2020 that shows the expenses missing from the school website? Why was the internal auditor that reports straight to the board let go in May 2018, shortly after an election? That's alarming. As I have mentioned before, a lot of lawsuits, grievances have been settled and still to be heard. A monetary board settlement reached with a cousin of a sitting board member? Why? Board members, you ran on a platform of financial transparency. Why wouldn't any board member want transparency that a forensic audit could bring? If you are trying so hard against an audit, you better have a better reason other than the lame statement that it's a witch hunt. Audits are good and happens in every area of business. It brings assurance that the board is running the district right, or it brings other areas of concern. The community is asking why the persons they elected to run and protect the district finances seem reluctant to proceed with this audit. Again, let's get going with this much-needed justifiable forensic audit. The $300,000 audit fee is standard for audits of district this size. Again, it's justifiable. Thank you.
Ms. Garcia, thank you. This concludes this section of public comment. Moving on to special recognition. Item 2.1, Texas Education Human Resources Day. Dr. Carmen.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. We have a proclamation from the Office of the Governor, Governor Abbott. I will read that, and I think we have some certificates to present to our HR personnel. Proclamation reads, in Texas, our youth are the future of our state and nation. We must never forget the important role education plays in guiding Texas school children on to future success. A well-rounded and challenging education is one of the most important tools we can provide to our children as we prepare them to live productive lives. Across Texas, human resources professionals play a key role in our students' education by facilitating the highest quality instruction, retaining excellent staff, and creating a safe environment to learn. Human resources professionals working in our schools ensure we meet the best interests of our students and faculty by fostering a rich and positive educational environment that allows our students to succeed. They provide much-needed services to students, teachers, and administrators while also executing effective practices to hire and retain skilled staff who ensure young Texans will thrive. These dedicated professionals help transform our students and ensure that they become the future leaders of our state and nation. At this time, I encourage all Texans to recognize the importance of human resources professionals in education and celebrate their commitment to excellence as they continue to develop effective strategies to meet the needs of countless young Texans and their educators. I applaud them and their dedicated efforts as we work to build the Texas of tomorrow. Therefore, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas, hereby proclaims October 13th, 2021 to be Education Human Resources Day.
Thank you, Dr. Carmen, and thank you to our HR department for all the work, for the hard work that you do. At this time, we do have some certificates that we'd like to present to you, and also the Gold Standard Medal in recognition for all you do. So I don't know how many of your team are here, Dr. Cruz, but we'll get started with that. We have board members, if we can go up to the front so that we can recognize our HR team. Okay, we move on to superintendent's reports. Dr. Carmen?
Yes, sir, Mr. Moreno, I think we have some financial information that Mrs. Pettis will present.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So on tonight's superintendent's report, we have our regular reports along with some quarterly information for you. If I can get it to work. Okay. So on the first part, our cash and investment balances. On the cash accounts, which are our first community bank accounts, we have a total of $4,335,490.17. In investment accounts, combined total of $67,971,692.29, for a total of cash and investment of $72,307,182.46. On our comparison to revenue and expenditures, under general operating fund, we have realized in revenues $12,892,504.77. Under interest and sinking, a total of $113,775.87 for a total of $13,006,280.64. And under construction, we have received a total of $40,897,549.87. The $897,000 obviously is the interest on that bond. For expenditures, general operating fund year-to-date expenditure is $13,517,124.67. Interest and sinking, we have spent $1,132.89. In capital projects, we have spent $11,671,362.19. Tax collection reports. After this month, this form will be completely blank. It's going to start all over. October is the first month of the tax roll. So this concludes the entire year for this tax collection year of 2021. And we have received $14,651,291.54, which is 98.94% of our total tax levy. Compared to last year of 89.64, we have done very well this year. Next is the quarterly investment report. Under First Community Bank, and this is for the months of July, August, and September, the interest that we have earned is $1,717.29. Under Ameritrade, which is where we have $5 million in general fund and $15 million of our bond money in there, we've earned $43,401.23. Under First Public, we have earned $5,168.02. And under Texas Class, we have earned $189.47 for a total of $50,476.01. Compared to last year's $98,111.69, it is significantly lower, but that is not a San Benito thing, that is a nationwide thing. And as you can see, we do have a very diverse portfolio. So we always want to see that we have that much of a diversity in all of our investments. So we have our quarterly campus and student activity report, and I will give you the total. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. The total is $464,601.24. And that is for all of our groups, campuses, departments, all of it summed up. Next, we have our quarterly federal funds. I did tell you that I would give y'all an update of where we are with our federal funds. It's a very big part of our budget. It is not what was board approved, but I still feel it's important that y'all are aware of where we are with our federal funds as well. So we have 3 years worth, 2019 and 2020. Some of those federal funds were extended all the way to 2023. So you'll see those old ones still lingering. And we should see that the older ones go out before the newer ones, which is why you're going to see 21, 22 have zero expenditures and revenues. So our total for all 3 years grant awarded is $76,039,402. We have spent $34,819,246.19, and we still have a remaining balance of $41,220,155.81. It's really hard to spend federal money. You would be surprised. Do you have any questions about any of the information so far? Okay. And then our last slide is our check register. General fund accounts payable checks. For the month of September, we have $2,931,496.38. Student activity, $27,575.38. Construction projects, $53,779.79. Zero under scholarship checks. Payroll, $7,414,974.68. And payroll liability checks, $1,483,015.08. For a total of $11,910,841.31 for the month of September. And you should have a copy of all the checks that we have made for the month of September. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those.
Board members, any questions?
Ms. Perez,
Yes, ma'am.
the SFE company, was everything paid out? Did everything come out on as budgeted? Did y'all make a profit? I know that was one of the things that y'all had said. You were hoping to get a profit from SFE company. If you used it, how did that turn out?
I don't have that information. I actually just requested information from Mr. Romero, but I can get that information onto board briefs for y'all, for all of y'all. And I'll give y'all a breakdown of what the revenues, the expenses were, and how we came out compared to what we did last year or the year before that.
Yes, and that can be done at the next committee meeting.
Okay,
So-
that sounds good.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And the other question was on the situation with the water pipe that had busted. Was that paid off to the city of San Benito? Is that something that you all had to take care of, or?
I'm not familiar with that situation specifically. We pay bills, ma'am.
The $1 million water leak that happened at
Oh, I
the
don't-
facilities? We're
I did not
building the
see a payment go out
facilities.
for that much.
What's the status on that, Dr. Carmen?
Right, so no, the district did not owe that. Each of our contractors over there are bonded, and their insurance is required to pay whatever the amount was. I don't think $1 million is accurate.
No, it was
I-
1 million gallons.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that's information from several months ago. I'm sure we can go back and get that for you. I don't think we have that prepared for this evening, but no, we do not have to pay that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions, board members? All right. Ms. Perez, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving forward with our agenda, consent agenda, business and finance. Item 4.1, request approval to accept gifts, bequests for 2021-2022 school year. You have a comment? Yeah. Okay. Item 4.2, request approval to extend bid proposal RFP 0920 RSD Recycling Services for 1 additional year. Consent. Item 4.3, request approval of option to extend the pest control services district-wide. Consent. Item 4.4, request approval regarding school district resolution in support of Cameron County Venue Arena.
I have a comment.
Item 4.5, request approval to award bid proposal for RFQ RFP 0921 DB tennis courts. Question? Consent. Item 4.6, request approval to award bid proposals for RFP 1021 FD flooring district-wide. Question? Consent. Moving on to number 5, consent agenda with the administration. Item 5.1, request approval of memorandum of understanding between San Benito CISD and Buckner Children and Family Services, Inc. for the 2021-2022 school year. Question?
Question.
Item 5.2, request approval of the purchase of Imagined Learning Math for district-wide students. Question? Or concern? Sorry. Consent. Item 5.3, request approval to update the Texas Teacher Evaluation and Support System T-Test Appraisal List 2021-2022 school year. Consent. Item 5.4, request approval of revisions to the 2021-2022 compensation plan. Question? Consent. And item 5.5, request approval of board minutes. Question? Consent. Okay, at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items 4.2, 4.3, 4.5, 4.6, and items 5.2 through 5.5.
So moved.
Okay, Ariel Cruz, motions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Janie Lopez seconds. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 2, 3, 4, 5. Mr. Silva? Yes? Okay. 6-0. Thank you. Motion carries 6-0. Going on to item, coming back to item 4.1, request approval to accept gifts bequests for 2021-2022 school year. Mr. Medrano.
I just have a comment. Can we send them a thank you card or a gift basket? Because they're giving these on their own, so that would be nice to start giving them something back in their return for their gifts.
Right, so I don't know about a gift basket, but certainly I think a thank you card
Okay,
would be
thank you card?
would be
Yes,
appropriate, yeah.
I will take care of that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay, so Oscar Medrano moves to approve item 4.1. Do I have a second? Mario Silva seconds. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, motion carries 6-0. Item 4.4, request approval regarding school district resolution in support of Cameron County Venue Arena. Ms. Lopez.
I have a question on this. In supporting this resolution for the Cameron County Venue Arena, I think that it's a great project for our area here in Cameron County. It'll attract a lot of business and so forth, but I just want to make sure that this is not something that's going to hinder our own city here in San Benito. And so, Dr. Carmen, have you all by any chance reached out to the city to see how this venue, how this arena would affect our city, if at all?
No, ma'am.
No?
No.
Have they ever talked to you or anything about that? And the reason I'm asking is because the city of San Benito is building a community center as well. And so that's why I was asking about that.
No, ma'am. I've not reached out to the city, nor have they reached out to me regarding any impact this might have on any future city construction. The communication I have is with the county. They presented here. Again, I received no calls from the city, nor did I reach out to them.
Okay, thank you. So, because I was worried about how it could impact us, I know that a lot of times we receive information, but sometimes we don't get the full information, so I wanted to make sure that it wasn't something that was going to affect us. I did reach out to the city myself, and I did get a message from the city saying that if this venue goes through, if the arena gets built, as long as the city does not get impacted by the tax rate that the venue has right now, that it would be something, you know, that the city themselves would also support as well, right? But my concern is just that, you know, in supporting this resolution, I myself want it to be documented that as long as it does not impact our funds that we receive as a city, when it comes to the venue tax, that I will support this resolution. If it does affect our city in a negative manner, with the funds that we receive, then I will not support that resolution. So as of now, I haven't heard anything that will impact us negatively. So,
I think Mr. Garza explained it that other night, saying that it wasn't gonna affect us or have any effect towards the school either. He simply said that this is going off the hotel tax, so it wasn't gonna affect us in any way.
right, and so we heard one side of the story, so I wanted to make sure that we heard the city side of the story also, so we can get, to make sure that it was, that we got both sides, just to make sure. So, thank you.
It probably should be a positive thing for both sides, I would think.
Okay. With that said, do I have a motion to approve item 4.4, approval regarding school district resolution in support of Cameron County Venue Arena?
Second.
Oscar Medrano and Mario Silva seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Okay, the next item, item 5.1, request approval of memorandum of understanding between San Benito CISD and Buckner Children and Family Services, Inc. for the 2021-2022 school year. Ms. Lopez?
At the committee meeting, we discussed the contract with Buckner Children Family Services. I did ask how the district was going to go about ensuring our student safety by making sure that background checks were going to be done with anybody that worked with our students. So I just wanted to follow up on that from the district.
Ms. Alvarado, would you like to give an update on that, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mrs. Lopez. We updated the MOU. I did, have been in communication with Mr. Welder, and that has been added to the MOU. It reflects that, and that was a language coming directly from Mr. Welder. And that has been updated. It should be on your board docs, and it's been signed already with that statement.
Mr. Weller, do you recommend the MOU? Do you see any issues or anything with it?
I think it's fine. I did look at it. We did add a provision in it that would assure that any personnel that has contact with any of the students from the district or the families from the district would go through the background checks required by Texas law. Ms. Alvarado did reach out to Buckner about it, and they actually told her, as I understand it, that Buckner runs 3 different sets of background checks already, and so they had no problem whatsoever with including that language. So I think we addressed it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Alvarado, for taking care of that.
Welcome.
Okay, with that said, do I have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between San Benito CISD and Buckner Children and Family Services, Inc. for the 2021-2022 school year?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Jenny Lopez and a second by Oscar Medrano. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. All right, moving on to action agenda items. Agenda item 6.1, discussion, consideration, and possible approval regarding purchases over $25,000. Dr. Carmen.
Yes, sir. Actually, Mrs. Pettis, if you would get some information, please.
Yes. So we have 3 purchases over $25,000. One of them is for Andy's Air, that is to replace some air conditioning units on the buses. Dell Technologies from Miller Jordan, and La Via ISD, which is part of our which one is it? Is it the after-school?
After-school program?
Yes, the after-school program. We want to make sure that we have that purchase order in place already approved, because that will exceed $25,000.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Okay, Mr. Corona?
On the AC for the buses, have they been out?
I do not have that information, but Ms. Martinez will enlighten us.
I think these are the purifying systems, not the actual ACs, is that, yeah.
Sorry, Ms. Martinez, and you didn't have to.
Can you repeat the question, please?
No, because she was saying, I thought the ACs on the buses were out. Had they been out? But it wasn't that. I apologize.
The ACs are out. In order for the ionization units to work and make it a purifying system, I have to replace the ACs on those 5 buses.
And those are 5 buses that have been carrying children right now that are out of service?
Yes, that is correct. Only one works, so all the windows are down. Only one unit works. The other one doesn't work, so they have to replace the whole thing.
So was this held back because of the 25,000 approval? I mean, How long has it been out?
It's been out for, like in August, and we barely got the quote back from Andy's.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions?
Ms. Martinez, the purifying system, what is that for?
The ionization system is the one that's gonna put the air in and out for germs. We approved them back in July, and Mr. Cole and I have been working on that project.
And is that because of COVID?
Yes, ma'am.
That's something that the district is taking an initiative to change because of COVID?
Yes, ma'am, as soon as we can install those on our units, which we're missing an inverter that was hard to find due to everything coming from China, which is the truth, right, Mr. Cole? We've are able to then roll up our windows and the kids can have all AC. Right now, they're about that much cracked down because they have to have ventilation.
And it was only those buses that needed to be changed?
Right now, just those 5 buses, yes, ma'am. We haven't had any other AC breakdowns, but these 5, they're gone.
And do the other buses that did not break down, do they also have the new AC system?
They're gonna have them installed. We're waiting for the inverters to come in.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Are the other buses having to have the windows open for the air circulation?
Yes, ma'am. All of them are cracked down at least a halfway or quarter inch down, as long as there's air going through. But then that causes the condensation, so then we'll have leaks from the AC due to the heat and the cold trying to cool, but it can't cool because the windows are a little down.
And I was just gonna mention that even if it's just a minimal crackdown of the window, it still heats up the bus. The cold air escapes, and I'm sure it's uncomfortable.
Yes.
Do you know how soon we can get those ACs changed?
It's gonna take 4 to 6 weeks per bus.
Is there any way to speed it up?
Andy's is actually swamped with work. I think a lot of them are installing other systems for, like, other different type of ionization units across the valley. So they told me it was gonna be 4 to 6 weeks per bus. But just on a good note, I should have 3 buses coming in. This week, we had 1 delivered, and we should have 3 more next week. They're actually at Andy's getting the ACs installed.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Board members, any other questions? Okay, I need a motion approving the purchases over $25,000 as discussed.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Oscar Medrano and a second by Mario Silva. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Item 6.2, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve budget amendments for 2021-2022 school year. Dr. Carmen.
Yes, sir. I'll defer this to Mrs. Pettis as well.
Thank you, sir. So this agenda item is to fund what we just approved on agenda item 4.5 for the tennis courts. And we are requesting to move $453,000 from fund balance over to the maintenance account to fund that project. This was not originally budgeted for, so it will need to come out of fund balance.
Dr. Carmen, I have a question on that, and it's not on the agenda, but I'm hoping I'm not veering away from it. This project on the tennis courts, it's, what was the number again, Ms. Pettis, $453,000?
That is the rounded number. The total amount for the project is $452,690. So the request is for $453 even.
Okay, so my question, and this is just a question, something to consider if you have not done so. I understand school districts across the state received additional funds from Elon Musk, and some of those funds are to be utilized providing our students and districts and campuses things that we may not have had in the past. Would there be any consideration or any possibility of using that $500,000 that we got from Elon Musk to provide this endeavor for our students? Dr. Carmen?
No, sir. Those funds have specific strings attached to them. The Elon Musk Foundation is encouraging work in the STEM area, in technology. There are other CTE areas, hospitality, essentially things that kind of align with what they're doing at SpaceX. They're putting the money into it because they're trying to grow those programs within the school districts. So no, sir, not for athletics or recreation. Those would not meet their requirements.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
Yes, sir.
Right, board members, any questions? Okay, I need a motion to approve budget amendments for 2021-22 school year as discussed.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Janie Lopez. Do I have a second? Okay, Mario Silva seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Right, item 6.3, discussion, consideration, and possible approval to renew the lease agreement between San Benito CISD and San Benito Historical Society. Dr. Carmen?
Yes, sir. We're requesting the board approve another one-year extension to the lease agreement. The San Benito Historical Society has been in the Joe Calandra building for 2 years. Seems to be going very well, a lot of positive feedback. Personally, I think from the school district, it's good for us to be able to highlight one of our former schools and be able to use it in such a manner. The district does not have use for the building of that size nor age, so it's kind of a win-win for us. So the recommendation is to approve an additional one-year term.
Okay, board members, any questions?
I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and approve the lease.
Okay, motion by Ms. Janie Lopez to approve the renewal of the lease agreement between San Benito CISD and San Benito Historical Society. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Rudy Corona, I'll give you that second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Dr. Cruz, sorry about that. 6-0, motion carries. All right, item 6.4, discussion, consideration, and possible approval of agreement between San Benito CISD and a temp agency or agencies for nurses clerical help. Dr. Carmen?
Yes, sir. I think we had some challenge with our previous agency, being able to fulfill the requests we gave to them. So Dr. Cruz, you want to give some additional information, please?
Good evening, Board. Yes, sir, we've had difficulty with the original staffing agency that got approved by the board. They were not able to meet our needs, so we're requesting and advising that we approve 3 different agencies. We've been working with Mr. Weller to get the agreements finalized, and we have 2 that are, at least one that is clear, one that is just a hair shy of it, and then the 3rd that we are still working on. And those agencies are Express Employment Professionals, Permatemp, and Select Staff.
Are we able to discuss any specific reasons as to not being able to fulfill the contract with the original vendors, or would that not be something that can be discussed in open?
It was twofold. It was partly our changes, the requested changes to the agreement, and they just did not have the ability to staff what we needed.
Board members, any questions? Okay, I need a motion to approve the agreement between San Benito CISD and temp agencies or agencies for nurses clerical help.
So moved.
That's a triple whammy right there. So we'll do Janie Lopez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oscar Medrano seconds. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 6-0, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item 6.5, review and discuss board-initiated projects not originally budgeted for in the 2021-2022 board-approved budget. Dr. Carmen.
Yes, sir. And actually, Dr. Ariel Cruz asked for this agenda item to be placed on her, so I'll defer to her.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm always very cautious when I purchase anything personally, so as a school board trustee, I'd also want to keep that same caution for our school district. A lot of these things are very good things, which our school district benefits from, not taking anything away from that. The only thing that I have is, are we going to be able to, are they feasible for long-term financial decisions? There are some things that we've done that are maybe not necessities, and I wanted to know, moving forward, what's the best process for doing this? Before the budget, would it be, like, for example, the parking lot at UTEX is $1.2 million, which is a big venture that we're having to move from our fund balance. In the future, if there's a big project like this, about, like, when would you want us to come to a board meeting with things like this?
So we start the budgeting process around January or February. Most likely around the April mark, that's when we will know where we are with our revenues, where we are with our ADA. So that's probably the best time. As far as feasibility in maintaining these and sustaining these, the ones that are the hourly continuity of employees, the extra $500, that one will be taken care of until 2024. After 2024, that's something that local will have to take care of. as well as the increase on the bus driver's salary. The other ones, if it's a purchase that does not have to do with payroll, if we are bettering our facilities, if we are taking care of our students, and our fund balance is good, there's nothing wrong with taking it out of fund balance as long as those are one-time increases. If it's something that we have to phase in, maybe by 2 or 3 years, that's also a good plan, but that would also be part of a budgeting process that we'd have to do. So the best time would definitely be around March and April.
So March and April is gonna be the best time to start thinking about projects like this for our schools.
Yes, so
Okay.
when we
Or
do the budget,
facilities.
I will bring back to the board 3 times. We'll talk about our revenues, and then we'll do another budget presentation about our expenditures, and then we'll do another one about our overall payroll and where it looks like with both of those combined. So when we start talking about revenues, that's when we should probably start talking about what your visions are for the future and what kind of 2, 3, 4-year plan that you would like to see going forward.
Okay. Also, thank you for all your hard work and for your department, first of all. But, so, things like the ESSER funds, when they run out, this is too, like, how do you think our fund balance is gonna look in 2024?
That's a very good question. Because we have a big chunk of it going in because of ESSER 2, we anticipate a $14 to $15 million increase because of that ESSER 2, and that one is finishing off this closing year. We're hoping to be able to increase our fund balance strategically by at least 5 to 10 million based off of what we're getting from ESSER 3 and considering that we don't have extra projects throughout the year. So we'll be in a very healthy fund balance situation. But if, just like off the top of my head, I would have to say an additional, from this year to 2024, maybe an additional 35 to 40 million. If we stay on track with what we're doing with our ESSER spending and our local spending.
Okay, what about the money coming in? That's our spending. What about money coming in? I worry about this because our enrollment is down from years past.
Yes, it is. And that's one of we should have been able to do a $20 million fund balance, but because we have decrease in ADA, because we have to have offset our hold harmless and, lots of number jargon there, we have to reduce it by an additional $6 to $7 million. But if we don't see students, after ESSER 3, that's gonna be a very big cut in it. Our students are our moneymakers. If we don't have students, then we don't have money to service them. It's for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the only thing, just because this is kind of, I foresee this pandemic being about 2 years to finally get everything over with, and I just worry spending so much money now, if we have more costs that come up, we're not gonna be able to mitigate that with our fund balance. Just, like, I think all of these are, well, I guess some of them are district, but most of them are board-initiated projects. Like the temp service that we just discussed, is that included in these projects?
No, that's not.
And that will come out of our payroll, or we're paying the temp service?
They should be able to come at ESSER, yes.
Right.
Okay, so, and it'll be an ESSER one time, not something that we'll have to,
Correct.
because
Correct.
it's temp, okay.
And I think that's the challenge, is when you put salaries in that aren't budgeted for, they're gonna be built into that following year's scheduled budget already. And that's when it gets inflated a little bit.
Right.
And so we're going to have to watch this very carefully as we finish off being able to pay some of these with ESSER. Do we keep them in the budget, or do we pull them out at that point in time? The one that we're already paying out of local, the additional police salaries, again, we're going to have to keep a close eye on that. At some point, when the ESSER funds go away and we're not necessarily putting money back in, and if our ADA drops again, we're going to have to make decisions. So for today, I think we're good, but I think it's good to keep a good eye on it and for us to revisit this regularly. Because those ongoing expenses are the ones that are the challenge. The one-time purchases, if we know we put in $14 million last year and we have to take out $2 million or $3 million of our fund balance, we know we're gonna be okay. It's the ongoing expenditures that if we're in the red due to those are the challenges.
A good example is when I proposed for the old Greyhound Stadium lights, and Mr. Cole said it's not feasible right now. wait till the budget, and we didn't do it. So we're gonna wait till March, so hopefully we'll have it then, and we'll agree all.
Yeah,
to-
and that's
to
kind of
provide
what I
it.
wanted, more of like a timeline, like, okay, when should we start bringing these projects that you have so that we can have so we don't have to be dipping into the budget, like we're having to move the money now.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the clarifications I'd like, I'm gonna either ask Mrs. Perez to make or possibly Dr. Carmen, in that dollar amount for the addition to the police department, the $751,077. That includes that's not only salary, that includes vehicles, that includes uniforms. And so going back to what Mrs. Perez mentioned, in that dollar amount, there's a lot of one-time costs that are incurred and that we will not be incurring on a yearly basis. For example, the uniforms, the cars, that's a one-time deal. So then what we're looking at in the future will be merely the salaries.
Correct.
Correct? The same thing with.
Not necessarily one time, because those vehicles are
Well,
they'll have a shelf life,
Right.
but it's not every year.
Mechanics
But it's
and
not-
mechanical and all that.
Right,
Correct.
replaced probably 7 years. So it's not a one time, but it's not an every year.
Correct. And then also, these additions, you know, that, for example, tennis courts, I do agree that that was a board-initiated project, but I do think that our students deserve it. And once again, this is, you know, our maintenance and operations, and, we're looking at something that's gonna be sustainable, it's gonna be, there for years to come. And so, although it's not a recurring cost that we're going to continue to make, correct?
That is correct.
All right.
It'll last longer than I last
Yeah,
before I retire. so
me
it'll-
too,
it'll-
I
it'll
can
be
tell you
fine.
that for sure.
And actually, it was student-initiated, not board-initiated. It came to our attention, and we brought it up to the board, and the board voted on it. So I think it was, all of these initiatives were actually passed by the majority of the vote, more than 5 votes at least. So all of us had voted on these, and all of these discussions had already taken place. And like Mr. Ramiro said, not everything is going to be a permanent cost. When it comes to the police department, student safety is a priority. We want to make sure that our kids are safe. We recently had a shooting in Arlington, and then there was that shooting in Harlingen also. So the more we can provide safety to our kids, the better. There's no dollar amount that we should be limiting when it comes to safety for our kids. As long as we have a strong budget, that's all we kept hearing, right? That we had a strong budget, strong budget. And so as long as we have a strong budget, and that's why we consult with the CFO and ask if this is doable or not. And if they tell us it is, then we do it. And if it's not, then we don't. And so student safety, the police department, that's one thing. The other thing is a bus barn. How long have we had that bus barn? When was it built?
I don't think we built it. I think we bought it at some point. Where's my historians? Who's been here long enough to know?
I know that when I was here,
Mr.
it was what?
Galvan?
I was here in 2015, 2012, that was already there. So it's not something that was a recent issue.
It was a UTEX building.
It's an issue that has been going on for a while, and what's happening with that, it's affecting our bus repairs, and it makes it very costly. A bus does not take $10 like, you know, like we might think. It takes thousands and thousands of dollars. Am I correct, Dr. Carmen? It is very costly to fix buses?
Yes, I mean, they start off costing over $100,000, so they are expensive to maintain. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that was the issue with the bus barn situation, that it was costing taxpayers more money than what it's gonna cost us to fix that area so that we can avoid spending more taxpayer money like that. So these are important things that we are taking care of. Again, the bus situation with giving the bus drivers a raise, it's not something that we said, let's just do it because we want to look good. It's because our students were arriving late to school. That was the situation with that, and we don't want our students, I mean, think about it. I was a teacher, high school kids arriving every day late to school, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. How does that affect a student that takes an EOC exam? How does that affect a student that has to pass those exams in order to graduate? You know, that's not fair to our kids or our teachers. So when we look at that, it's about taking care of our staff, and it's about taking care of our students as well.
So I think we can track and monitor the question regarding the maintenance on the buses. So for example, pre-paved parking lot, if we spend $200,000 on maintenance, and each year thereafter we spend $100,000, we can do the math and see if the life of the parking lot is going to offset the cost of the difference in maintenance costs. I don't know that it will, that will pay for itself, but it's something we can certainly quantify and track over the next several years.
Right, and hopefully, we can work with the city to fix the outside street also. And anything I can do, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, whoever we need to talk to, whether it's congressman, the governor, whoever, I don't care, let's get it done, so we can take care of our school, the president. Okay, so again, these projects, a lot of it has to do with safety. It has to do with safety. We had the ESSER funds, and that helped us out. The school over there, the Riverside School, there wasn't equality for our students. Our students were having to drive to the high school to practice for their tennis games. And a lot of students wouldn't join because they didn't have a parent to come pick them up at the high school. A lot of our parents out there in the country, they only have one car. They don't have the luxury that a lot of us do. And so parents can't take them, to practice. And so with these initiatives, they're not board initiatives, there's more of necessities. There were necessities that we had to do for our staff, our students. And again, that raise, I think everybody was happy to get a raise. I wish, and I really fought this, and you all know this. I fought for y'all to get a bigger raise, right? But they said, no, we don't have unlimited budget, right? So then we had to stop, right? We couldn't do it for y'all. If we could, we would. Thank you, sir.
I'd like to mention something to piggyback off what Dr. Cruz said, and also with the response that we got from Mrs. Perez in reference to, the board coming to you all, when we're looking at the budget for the following year and looking into cost. And that's something that I wish we had done way back when we first were elected as board members. And I'm going to use one example in particular. We were elected, some of us were elected in November, and then some others were elected in May. But those that were elected in November and took office, there were some expenditures that we were not made aware of, and it was just, not that it slid under, not that anything's underhanded, but it just got passed without us really looking at specifically. And I can really allude to one major expense. I'm gonna point to Ms. Isabel over here, Gonzalez, who I tell her, and I constantly tell her, the phenomenal job that her department does and continues to do. And I think us spending $208,000 over a period of 2 years, had that been brought up to our attention about the contract renewal for that certain organization, we may have been able to save that money and perhaps utilize it with Ms. Gonzalez's department, because we have the people, we have the personnel to do what this company was doing before. So now with that said, what I'm getting at is in the future, now maybe we can discuss these contracts that we have, and if we need to terminate the contracts because we have the personnel to do the phenomenal job that they're doing, then why waste the money?
I had a quick comment. As far as the raises, I just want to make it public that we were never against any raises. We wish we could give everybody additional raises. However, we're just trying to stay within budget. And it's not fair when you give one certain department a $2 raise and you can't do it for every other department. I wish I could give the janitors an additional $2 raise. Teachers a $2 raise. It's just something that'll trickle. It's not that we're against it. It's just trying to stay within budget. And I thought that's what we had done when we voted on a certain percentage for everybody straight across the board. We were trying to be as fair as possible. I even asked at that point, I asked Ms. Vicky if we could give a higher percentage. She then told me no. So we stayed within budget. Just wanted to let everybody know that.
Yeah, just to make a comment picking off of that and some of Ms. Lopez's comments, the salary increase, when she said, I wish we could give everybody a salary increase, we did. We gave everybody a salary increase that was recommended by our CFO, by the financials before the budget was made. So then all these salary increases that occurred after the budget is kind of where we're like, was it really safe to do that? And she said, well, when the CFO says we can't do something, well, we don't do it, but we still did. And just like Mr. Corona said, I mean, I've been getting calls that the substitutes need a raise, that nurses need a raise, and it's very frustrating because we can only control what gets voted on here. And like I said, these projects are great projects. I never said that they weren't or that they weren't necessities. I just want a better plan. I always like to plan ahead. With this, in the way the world is right now, we can't plan for things because of COVID. So the fact that we've already spent this amount of money, I wanted to put just like a little break, look in the rear view, see what we can do moving forward. And that was the whole purpose of putting this on the agenda for tonight.
And Dr. Carmen, I know that you said that, that there needs to be some adjustments, so that way we can maintain this. And so, I appreciate you all looking into that, because I really do believe that if there's any waste out there, that we do need to cut on that waste, and that we need to prioritize on whatever it is that we need to take care of. Thank you, Dr. Carmen.
So I think all good points were made, and also do just, we need to move on, but I would like to commend Mr. Corona with a statement that you made in reference to our hourly employee. I, being a school administrator for over 25 years, one of the points that I'd like to make, and I think that as board members, because we are new board members, we do look for guidance to Mrs. Perez's office. We do look for guidance from Dr. Carmen. But one of the things that I still stand firm that this is my opinion, I honestly feel that we could have been prevented. And I see all my our wonderful administrators out there. Again, because I feel I'm a colleague, I work in that capacity. I always look out for my little people, and I said that before. I don't mean it in a derogatory way, but I think that from the onset, when we discuss salaries, I really feel that a 3.5% raise for our administrators does not compare to a 3.5% raise whatsoever for an hourly employee. So with that said, in the future, again, we look to guidance from Ms. Perez's office, we look to guidance from our superintendent, and perhaps we do need to do a lower amount for administrators. The salaries that we, and I say we as administrators make, cannot compare to what our hourly personnel make. So that's something that we need to, again, look to guidance and make sure that we're never going to be able to match the amount, but at least make it, everybody has households to run and mouths to feed, and so we need to work together as a board to come up with a better plan. So, this is not a bad plan to bring this up to the table. It was a good, healthy discussion. So with that said, any other questions?
And I think just to let the staff know and the community know, there's a salary audit that is still going through. Is that correct? So we're still waiting on that also to see how that turns out.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to item 6.6, discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve the resolution for Texas Education Human Resources Day. Dr. Carmen.
Yes, sir. So we read Governor Abbott's resolution. I am proposing that the board adopt a resolution in support of Texas Education Human Resources Day. It reads, whereas the Human Resources Division is instrumental in recruiting, selecting, resourcing, and retaining quality staff in support of providing an excellent education for all students, and whereas Human Resources plays a key role in fostering satisfaction and loyalty among employees by allowing for professional growth and development and keeping employees informed about policies, working conditions, compensation, and benefits, and whereas Human Resources monitors and manages current and future workforce trends, organizational culture, legal and legislative trends, and ethical and social responsibility. And whereas Human Resources is an important part of district leadership and is vital to the overall productivity and efficiency of the district's workforce. And whereas Human Resources is a valued and respected department that sustains the district's most important asset, its people. Therefore, the Board of Trustees of the San Benito Consolidated Independent School District does hereby resolve that October 13th, 2021 will be observed as Texas Education Human Resources Day throughout the district. The board also encourages students, staff, and parents to express their appreciation to our Human Resources team members for their dedication and commitment to San Benito CISD employees and students.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Carmen. So do I have a motion to approve the resolution for Texas Education Human Resources Day?
So moved.
Okay, Jamie Lopez moves. Second. Oscar Medrano. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0.
And I just want to say thank you, Dr. Cruz, and thank you to your department. Thank you for everybody for all the hard work that you all do.
Very well deserved. Thank you. Dr. Carmen, do we have items to discuss in executive session?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, we do.
Okay. So with that said, In accordance with Texas Government Code Open Meetings Act, the board may move into closed session for the following reasons. Section 551.071, for the purpose of a private consultation with the board's attorney on any or all subjects or matters authorized by law. Section 551.074, for the purpose of considering the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, or to hear complaints or charges against a public officer or employee. That said, we break into executive session. All right, the time is 7:25 when we're back from executive session. Item 8.2, Dr. Carmen?
Yes, sir, Mr. Moreno, I would recommend to the board they approve the employment, resignations, and retirements as discussed in executive session.
Do I have a motion? Okay, it's a tie over there. Rudy Corona. Second?
Second.
Janie Lopez. All those in favor, raise your right hand. 6-0, motion carries. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Okay,
moved.
Rudy Corona. Second?
Second.
Janie Lopez. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good night, everyone.